Hello, hello, hello. I hope you could watch the intro. Sorry for the little delay. I was trying to get YouTube connected to OBS and it didn't work. Well, what can I do? So we're doing a normal YouTube stream again. I had a fancy background and everything picked up and ready. But, anyways, I like this format too. Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the CM Kozeman live stream. It's been a while. This is our first show in 2026. 14 people watching, and I hope you're all having a good time. Eleanor Davis says hi. Hello, Eleanor. Kuro Minami says hello. Melatonin says Mr. Kozeman. Happy New Year to everybody. Yes. Cosmos Productions says hello. Mehmet Güzeldam says the world is ending. Well, it's been a heavy month, huh? The world hit the ground running in 2026. I hope you can hear me correctly and well, by the way. I hope the sound is reaching you fine. I just need to confirm that before getting the show officially started. Okay, the sound is good. Okay, we're all good. All right, everybody. Today, on the 11th of January 2026, I learned of the death of, well, one of my formative authors. And this person was none other than Erich von Däniken, the controversial and scammy Swiss author who popularized the ancient astronauts idea with books such as, well, The Chariots of Gods and many, many others. I mean, he's got like over a dozen books like this. And this was Mr. Däniken. Rest in peace. He was a charlatan, but I love these books. They were the first books I read with enthusiasm as a kid. In fact, these are like over 30 years old. The very same copies I had from 1993. And the nice thing about these was I read these on holidays, and the coarse strawy paper and the strange garish images on the covers, they really stayed with me. And it was also a vaccination against bullshit, because I was reading these books when I was around 9, 10 years old, and then when I became a teenager I could realize that not everything and not every claim in the books hold up, and they were like a vaccination against bullshit. So, anyways, today on the 11th of January 2026, we learned that Mr. Von Däniken passed away, and I think he introduced a lot of people to pseudoscience, but he introduced me to the world of reading. Some of these books, I bet they still have sand in between in between the pages from the holidays I read them on. Because this was summer vacation, there was no internet. You just had your like pack of books and you read them, and it was a lovely, lovely summer vacation. They don't make book covers like they used to. Yes, this series was like something else. Okay, so why don't you feast your eyes on this while I go grab the snacks of the night, and you call everybody you know and get settled in, and we'll officially get this show started. Don't move anywhere. Here's a whole bunch of other Von Däniken books from my childhood. And yeah, I'm just coming up with snacks. Just hold on, okay? All right. I hope you had a good time admiring the pile of books here. Lots of comments and 30 people watching. Rest in peace, says Eleanor. Berhat Guitar says, have a great night, my lord. I need to study and I won't be able to attend the stream. Well, you have a best luck on your exams. Jerry Caleb says, ancient astronauts are the plot of Stargate and Thor. Stargate was an incredible film, by the way. It was this film. Da, na, na, na, na, na. Actually, it also has a very nice spin-off science fiction series, but for me, Stargate was always this movie by Roland Emmerich, the guy who did the guy who also later did Independence Day. And this movie was marketed in Turkey as the movie of these books. Erich von Däniken's books are now a feature film because these films were extremely popular. These books were extremely popular in Turkey. Like they were bestsellers, and Turkish people have a conspiracy inclined mind. Let me say that much. So it was always wonderful to read about these things. My big set of von Däniken books. Okay. Well, we can go through them one by one. I'll give you the lowdown, but let me read everybody's comments first. Happy New Year and Merry Christmas, says 52 Shark. Happy New Year and Merry Christmas to you too. Even Mouse says, I'm I find it hilarious that you thought I was Australian because I showed you the echidna I met in Plymouth. Well, I jump to conclusions, don't I? Roland Emmerich also made Godzilla 1998. Yes, yes, yes. Lots of nice comments. People are talking about I have no mouth and I must scream and how to get it. Well, I don't know. Even Mouse says, my late grandfather also loved ancient aliens. I remember him telling me that octopi were from space. That's a nice memory. I mean, these books had such an impact that really, like, at one time, everybody was convinced that nobody could have built the pyramids by hand. Let me actually give you a lowdown. Like, this was the eyes of the Sphinx, and I found this book extremely engaging because it was a very image rich book and it showed all these strange Sumerian and Egyptian, well, archaeological relics, and made the case that the ancient Egyptians had some sort of access to genetic manipulation and they could design custom creatures. Of course, I guess art for art's sake was never a thing, but it genuinely like argues that, the Egyptians had advanced technology in genetics and magnetism and stuff like that. Strange one. This was the original book, Chariots of the Gods. This was such a luxury book that actually this was the only one that wasn't printed on straw. So there, and it's like basically every ancient culture was too advanced for non-Europeans to build, so it must have been aliens, basically. That's the gist of it. Then there's this one, The Shock of the Gods. But you just get used to this naming convention, okay? The Shock of the Gods. And it's about, well, a bunch of stuff like the Ramayana, ancient Mesoamerica, like a smattering of stuff. And then there's also some crop circle and UFO stuff too. Like you're meant to read this and be shocked by all the alien shit. So yeah. And then there is the strategy of the gods. The gods are a smart lot. So this is mostly about, I think, Mesoamerica and his world travels, really. Like von Däniken, this guy was a hotel operator at one point. So he was intimately acquainted with tourism. So, like, this is his travels around the world. And here he shows this weird statue somewhere in, I think, South America, and says, this animal visage caused speculations among our group. Obviously, it was an alien. Or there's this thing from a museum from El Lanzon, and it says, nobody could understand what these freezes mean, and no explanation brings a certain resolution. Oh, it must be the strategy of the gods to build a bunch of random bullshit all over the place and just confuse people. Like, look at this. It says this is a charming pendant which contains many mysteries. I mean, I would contain many mysteries too if I looked like this. But yeah, there's not much of a clear strategy, is there? It's just a bunch of weird and cool travel stories, that's all. JD says, Von Däniken likes to lie. Yes, of course, that's the thing. I told you this before. These books, I loved them as a 10-year-old. Then when I was 14, 15, they worked like a vaccination against pseudoscientific bullshit. Another book, Return to the Stars, and like with a cover like this, how could you go wrong? I do believe this is an artwork by Dali, by the way. It's about the holy books and Babylon and the Tower of Babel, and it talks about like computers and how there must have been computers by aliens back there, and aboriginal art is cool, I guess, like, or like some shapes from Peru and stuff like these are great to look at, but even as a kid you realize these aren't really connected. You're just stringing along a bunch of claims. And then there's this one. I love this book because of this Imbi Sunman on the cover with his big puffy feet. And this one is called Seed and the Universe, Tohum Ve'evren. And it's all about mysteries in Ceylon, Singapore, Malaysia, Guam, New Zealand, Taiwan, Chile, Brasilia, Ecuador, Colombia, the United States, 120,000 kilometer world tour, the greatest discovery since ancient Troy. But yeah, you just have the Imbi Sun, man. So yeah. But this guy just traveled all over the place and just basically used the proceeds of the money to just fly all over the place. And I don't even think he did any research. Here's this thing where it's, I think, Peruvian or Colombian archaeological, like it must have been something like a clasper or like a clothespin, but he thinks it's an airplane. So yeah. Nisan Yetkin says the cover art belongs to an artist named Eloy and not Dali. Okay, maybe. Anyways, then we have this thing which says the Stone Age wasn't as we knew it. And this is all about, this has a focused theme. And this one was all about ancient megaliths and Stonehenge and stone monuments. And well, he can't explain them, so they must have been aliens. And, I mean, there's no way to build them, right? So it's just like this, and there's equations about the golden ratio. He figured out at an early time that if you throw in a lot of information together and just wax poetic, a lot of dumb people will think you're doing science. So there's that. Then there's this thing, or was I wrong? Fresh memories from the future. Aha. So in this one, he pretends to be a skeptic, but then he doubles down on it, saying like, literally, like ultraviolet beams were not understood 100 years ago. So I don't think I'm wrong. Basically, like, comes down to this. God. Oh, shit. And this one has like a lot of space shit in it too. Like low orbit and high orbit and traveling to the moon and space-based stuff. But this is how you're going to build a city in space. So I don't know. Then he says there must have been Star Wars in the past because of like the Ramayana or some other ancient epics. By the way, check out my Gugu food. I want to read it ASAP, says Kurominami. Well, I mean, if you're on a desert island, these books are good reading. This one is called A Trip to Kiribati, and once again, he goes to, although none of these are in Kiribati, I think like this is the Stonehenge. I don't think this is from Kiribati. These are probably from Kiribati, which was a British dependency known as the Gilbert Islands. And then Gilbert became Kiribati. And yeah, he goes to Kiribati, and there's like a whole chapter about Jacob's dream in the Old Testament and stuff like that. So it's really a bizarre mishmash of a book. Like, I think even from like this 5-minute expose that I'm giving you, a lot of you guys can understand that these books weren't really, I mean, they're like pap, YouTube pap, you know? Anyways, then you have the Footprints of the Gods with this amazing cover again, featuring a man without genitalia. This must be Dali, right? Or somebody says, no, it's a Polish painter named Siudmak. Maybe, I don't know. But once again, this is about Ethiopia and stone tombs and monoliths in Africa. Oh, then it says like, here are some modern pictograms from Baden-Baden in Germany. And then here are some petroglyphs from British Columbia. Funny how they're similar, huh? Looks like they had maybe traffic or hotels and spas, because these are like hotel and spa signs mostly here. And of course, he selectively picks all the petroglyphs that look like rockets and aliens and omits those that, well, just resemble regular people. So that's that for the Footprints of the Gods. Okay, so these are all by this artist named Siudmak, and I'll look them up now. And then you got the day the gods arrived. This is a Mayan, a Mesoamerican book. He runs some calculations from the Mayan calendar and says that the gods landed on 3114 BC on the 11th of August. And I remember this was one of the most boring books because it's full of like these timetables and like actual calculation and I don't know. Oh, and it says that the scale of Mayan temples neatly matches with the orbits of the planets, but it doesn't. Anyways, what the fuck? That's this. And then this is called On the Footsteps of the Almighty God, Space Trip to the Ancient World. And it has got like some 3D graphs. So it says reconstruction of a spaceship from ancient Indian epics. Okay. Which looks like a hovercraft, really. So yeah, with like literally like some photographs, some text, and some space pictures, you could really dupe a lot of people in those days. I mean, you think TikTok is bad these days? I think there was always a baseline of like credible or gillable people in society, and because books look more erudite, people really didn't realize that. So here's the Chariots of the Gods again. I liked it so much that I collected different editions. So I first got the 59th edition. Then I got the 60th special edition, which, as you can see, was no longer printed on straw paper and was glossy and shit. Which one is the best book for getting better ideas about creating a world which is about false space gods? I don't think there's one single book, but you should just read a lot of bullshit and make up your own bullshit. And then this one is the scariest. Like, this book is single-handedly responsible for giving me a PTSD, because this is called The Miracles of the Gods. Even the typesetting looks like a religious book. And this basically goes to all the miracle claims and demon possession stuff, and even jinns in Islamic folklore and stuff, but mostly about Christian mythology. And it claims that all weird Christian stuff, with mediums, parapsychology, and like religious miracles, the vision of Fatima and stuff like that, they probably were all aliens or UFOs. And it had a index of miraculous, scary events in the back. So, for example, here it says, in 1926 in Marlemont in France, 6-year-old Maria P. saw the Virgin crying, and she was so affected that she bent over and started scrubbing the ground to wipe away Mary's tears. Or like in here, in a place called Bagneux in Belgium, a certain mother of the skies was made visible to Mariette Beko, who was 12. So there's lots of cases of kids having demon attacks or Marian visions or miracles. And I was a kid. I was so fucking scared when I read this book. I couldn't give it up, but I was really scared that any minute now there's going to be a Marian vision or what's that moat? And I felt like if I had such an experience, I would be irrevocably transformed and traumatized, and I didn't want that shit. I didn't want that shit at all. Hi, says TJJ. Hello, hello, hello. I'm actually also an alien. I have a mission here, says 52 Sharks. Tuna Birgun says, hello, hope everything is fine. Thank you. Thomas Strimpel says, got a new copy of the All Tomorrows, and I love the new art you added there. Thank you. Yes, if you get All Tomorrows, aside from the old art, there's also some really nice new bangers in there. And I'm taking some paracetamol, because here's how the new year went down, okay? Family gathering, everybody's happy. We go to my aunt's place. Everybody gets this horrible fucking influenza pig shit that's flying around. And it was the second worst bout of illness I had after COVID. For 2 days, I literally couldn't get out of bed. I had pain in my bones. I weirdly had pain in this finger. So if I tapped the tip on a hard surface, my entire arm felt shut up. Then I had the scoliosis pain and had fever for almost a week. I was weak. I felt stupid. I couldn't think clearly. I had brain fog, and it just ended 5 days ago. I think only 5 days ago I could say I was completely recovered, but even now I got some gunk in my throat, but I think it's gonna go away. But anyways, did anybody else have the stupid sickness that's going around. Winter flu or New Year's flu. It was really, really fucking intense this year. Did anybody else have the illness? Did anybody else fall sick in the year of our Lord 2026? Lexus Galavan says it was intense, so I hope you got better too. Kuro Minemi says my grandma got it. Yeah. I was sick on my birthday. No. Happy birthday. Just a little tired and sinus symptoms, but not sick enough to call off work. Well, you got a better one. Thomas Strimple says, I got it on New Year's Day. Still dealing with congestion. Gnome's Child says, I know a lot of people who got it. So yeah, it's like the goddamn 2026 update or something. I got such a heavy bone pain flu in November. Yes. One magic remedy was this, though. Let me show you. Just a second. So, like, there were days when I literally could not function without having some of this bone broth with marrow in it. And this is a common soup ingredient that they sell in Turkish supermarkets. This shit is a lifesaver, bone broth. So I mixed it with boiling water and lots of salt. Had a huge bowl and just like slowly drank it over the course of 2 hours or something. And I slept a lot. Lots of sleep and bone broth. Like it really, I could sense it healing me. And the weirdest part came in towards the middle, where like in one night, I would change 3 sets of clothes because I sweated so much. It was just, anyways, I don't want to like exaggerate my adventures, but this was it. So bone broth, drink that shit. No Ego Holiday says, my mother let me read the Chariots of Gods when I was in 3rd grade. As a child, the book opened my mind so well that I can still feel its influences on me. Yes. And you know what? I think Von Däniken's life would make such a good movie. He was a liar and a charlatan. I mean, he had some cases of embezzlement and tax fraud, and apparently before he was an author, he also tried to sell off some fake Egyptian jewelry in Egypt or something. But anyways, so his life in a sort of candid biopic like Man on the Moon, the 1999 film with Jim Carrey. So that movie is about the life of Andy Kaufman, whom the world recognized exclusively thanks to this film, I think. But yeah, I mean, you could really have a nice, candid biopic portrait of Von Däniken as a flawed character along similar lines. So that's an idea. Anyways, hope you're all doing well. And with 44 people watching, let me down some tea. And let's do our traditional roll call, the first in 2026. So Let me know where you are from, where you are from, where you are from. Let the fires of Kozamen fandom burn brightly all over the world. Where are you from? Where are you from? Where are you from, everybody? Mhm. All right. Yes, keep it coming. I'll finish my cookies and start reading them. Blake Richardson from the USA. Eleanor from the UK. 52 Shark from Germany, but from a different planet. Okay. Piga from Brazil. I got lots of Brazilian followers. Some regulars and some intermittent. So nice to see you here. Melatonin is from the inferno of Texas. It's winter now. I don't think it's very infernal now. Texas is a wonderful place. One of my friends posted a story. She went to an IHOP, which is like a truck stop shop in Texas. The shop itself runs for like something like 300 meters and it's got hundreds of people in it and all sorts of products. And it's like, God damn, this is a truck shop? Imagine the malls. Lucky you. Jerry Caleb from Georgia, USA. Kuro Minami from Istanbul. Gnome's Child from upstate New York. No Ego Holiday, also from Istanbul. Tommy Belanger is from Quebec. Lux Saterna is from Lithuania. Nisan Yetkin and Kürşat are from Istanbul again. We are nearing a parity between Turkish and global friends here. Thomas Strimpel is also from Texas. Dan McAleer is from Scotland. Janar is from the Netherlands. Lexus Galavan says, the only thing not okay is breathing in truck stop fuel fumes while at a shopping center. Okay. Jim Larsen, another fellow Texan here. Emre B from Manchester, UK. All right. Melatonin says, is it true you have a grasshopper named after you? Yes, it's true. Let me clean my hands and show you. Slothman is from Florida. Nice state. I went to summer school there years and years ago to the Ringling School of Art. Was in, I think, Tampa, Sarasota. Lovely school, lovely state. Jacob Genau is from Port Townsend. Oh my God. I think, you know what? Let me look at Port Townsend. Sorry, my ignorance. Port Townsend. You know what? I almost drove through your town. Incredible. 10 years ago, we had like a lovely romantic road trip from Seattle down to San Francisco. So from Seattle, we could go to Port Townsend or cut down below to Ocean Shores. And I chose to drive to Ocean Shores. So I missed you just like, I don't know, by an error of 10 years. But that part of America was always beautiful. I hope it's still beautiful too. Oleg Zwidler is from Ukraine. You're originally from Azov. Now in Berlin, Germany. I hope things turn out better so everybody can see their homeland again. Jacob Janav says it's a beautiful Victorian town up in Port Townsend. Yes. What if your mantis escapes? Says Melatonin. Well, sadly, the mantis has reached the end of her lifespan and she passed away. I am drying her body in a special drying cabinet. So here's the mantis. Rest in peace, everybody. Ruhuna bir Fatiha, as they say. Unfortunately, these animals have short 1 year lifespans, and this was the end of it. But I gave her a good life. I fed her. I played with her. So it's very sad. But, you know, at least she had a good run. Lexus Galavan says it looks like a Meganopteran, one of those prehistoric insect groups. Maybe. Did she have kids? No, there was a problem. Maybe it was impaction. In fact, towards the end of her life, I tried this. I put her abdomen into water because sometimes these things have horsehair worms, which are really gross, but nothing came out. So it's just a problem with her abdomen, maybe. I don't know. It's sad. But anyways, now I'm drying her for a month, and then I will pin her and frame her. And to be honest, I don't think I'm gonna like hang her in the middle of the living room, but I'm gonna put her in a little frame and just as a just have that as a memento. At least, we know that these animals live for a year, and I like to pretend I extended her life rather than shorten it. So yeah. Jacob Genav says, did you take the 99 highway down? It was the 101 highway, the romantic seaside drive. But yes, that's the one I took. 101 all the way down. Well, I'll show you where I went. Ocean Shores, Greyland, Raymore, then Ocean Park, Astoria, Sunset Beach, Cannon Beach, Bay City, Tillamook, Pacific City, Nescoin, Lincoln City, Lincoln Beach, Newport, Dune City, Hecata Beach. Such a wonderful, wonderful place. Crescent City, Klamath, all the way through Oregon, Humboldt County, Arcata, all the way down. Okay, so more comments. Jerry Caleb says, why is English so common as a second language in Turkey? It is semi-common for us here to speak a little Spanish because of our neighbors, but you guys speak English like you were born to it. A lot to unpack here. I don't claim to have the best English, but I know I am better at speaking it than most. And I mean, Americans don't have any country that's stronger than them. Or one that dominates the world globally. So I think in Turkey, Greece, Romania, many places, it's very desirable to know and speak in English because it quite simply connects you to the rest of the world, the rest of the planet. In America and in the UK and well, in Canada, New Zealand, Australia, you're born literally like 5 points ahead of the rest of the world because you know English. You are English language. So that's an amazingly beneficial thing. And especially now after the year 2000, with the proliferation of the internet and everything, it's very desirable to even be able to joke in English or like recount internet memes in English because it also makes you a cooler person. There's that added dimension to languages too. There's an unspoken hierarchy of languages for all people, for every person, and you automatically rank their speakers in what could only be described as how cool they are. So, to a Turkish person, an English speaker will always be cooler than a Romanian speaker. A French speaker will always be cooler than a Romanian speaker, but maybe not as cool as an American. And a person who speaks British English, like Hugh Grant, would be cooler than, like, I don't know, a random American who speaks in American accent. These are not my ideas, these are just like patterns everybody sees. Jacob Genau says, very good to see you and talk with you. Let me know if you're ever in the area again. Good day. Good day to you, my friend. And well, I hope the promotion run for All Tomorrows will take me places in the future. Why were people on Twitter giving you shit? I don't know if anybody was giving me shit. Anyways, I don't know what you're referring to, but tell me about it in more detail, then I'll try to understand it. When I visited the USA and met my older brother for the first time, I was just as shocked. I was shocked as he talked to me in an American accent, exactly like they did in the movies. Louis J says, I just got here, seen Avatar 3 yet. I watched it, I loved it, I cried with it. I think I'm going to make a movie review podcast about it, but I was a bit late to the party because of the shitty influenza that I contracted. But it was just an awesome film. And James Cameron is, I think, the last great auteur filmmaker who's not plugged into the system, you know? Doesn't have to churn out Marvel slop. Quaritch is cool, a cool villain all of a sudden, yes. I think in the next film, there's going to be a bigger threat, and him and Jake Sully are going to have to grudgingly collaborate to defeat it. So that's my idea. Have you seen the insect called a toe biter? What is it? No, I don't know. Oh, these are those giant aquatic bugs, right? This fellow. I love these. These are just macro predatory water bugs, and they're very, very cool. There's actually a bunch of aquatic bugs like this. I mean, there's this thing called a water scorpion, the family Nepidae, which look like this. Oh no, wait. So this is a related form, water scorpion. Basically, a bug's attempt to create an aquatic mantis. And then there are these things which are called toad bugs. Called Gelastocoridae. And they're literally like toad-shaped bugs that live in wet places. I mean, here's one. So there's like 3 or 4 different groups of like true bugs, hemipterans, which have evolved for a life in rivers and lakes, and those are really, really cool. Rosie Star says, first time joining. I'm usually part of the replay gang. I got to go, but I want to say I watched your TEDx talk the other day. See you on the replay. Love from Peru. Thank you, Rosie, and lots of love to Peru. Almost looks like a toad. Do you like mosquitoes, says 52 Shark? I don't like them when they attack me, of course, but their whole diversity, I think, is staggering. Like flies, I've spoken about them on this channel lots of times. Flies are really cool. And there's some like really strange metallic colored mosquitoes too. Do you know the insect that's called the world destroyer in Latin? Trombelensis. No, let me look it up. Trombelensis cregonsis. I don't think you wrote that correctly because I can't find anything by that name. Louis J says, why do you think pupa exist? Wouldn't it make more sense for the adult to just develop inside the last larva's skin? Well, I think they need to have some crazy metabolic changes. There are cases where the whole body breaks down in moths and butterflies into some sort of sludge and then reforms. And I don't think you can do it in the larva's body. You literally need a new mold, okay? And that's why I think the pupa exists. But I think the evolution of that feature must have been like some of the most convoluted and crazy processes out there. Oh, apparently the world destroyer insect was a joke. Okay. What would your thoughts be if your book gets turned into a movie? First of all, I think depending on the movie and depending on the rights contract, it could be really lucrative, you know, something around the $1 million mark or something. And that would mean I would not have to work anymore. Remember, I still work in advertising. It would make me feel really accomplished, but there's always a risk of, I mean, ideally, in a perfect fantasy world, I would only want the movie rights gone with a director that I could trust attached. But I know the way life works. There's always a risk that, you know, I could still get a nice payout, but the resulting movie could be bad. Could have a director like M. Night Shyamalan, or could just flop. You never know with these things. And or it could turn into something like Love, Death, and Robots, which is not my favorite thing, to be honest. Ideally, it would be, I think, an animated film, something by Studio Ghibli, but with the tone and pacing of maybe Nausicaa, and something like a documentary. If they turn it into a young adult fantasy romance with a bunch of explosions, we won't judge you, get the money. Yes. Yes, I mean, at least, you know, then I could get the money and develop the real thing, which would be like a later, bigger book or film. But yeah, it's nice to dream about. It's a giddy feeling to have that even as a remote possibility. It's like the it's like daydreaming about winning the lottery. IIDXNNIS. He keeps asking, how did you come up with the coup in All Tomorrows? I answered this question a lot of times. Basically, there's no way humans can evolve into all these different alien forms. So there has to be a plot device, and that was the plot device. Have you considered expanding the story of All Tomorrows with like more lore, says Melatonin? Well, my friend, you probably don't know about the All Tomorrow's Redux project, which is actively going on. Because I'm actually rewriting and expanding the whole book. It, it will be a whole bigger story. And if you join my Patreon, you can read excerpts from it. If All Tomorrows had a movie, who would be a main character? There would be no one main character, but it could be about the life of a family or different generations of people. Does Snaiad exist in the same canon as All Tomorrows? No, it's a different world and a different universe. An hour in. Will Snaiad come out before All Tomorrow's Redux? They'll. I think All Tomorrow's Redux might come out a bit sooner. Because Snaiad, it's another project with about the life and evolution on another alien planet. It's gonna be a big, like, textbook from an alien world, basically. In All Tomorrows, did the coup do the same thing they did to humans to other races before them? Maybe. You guys think more about these things than I ever did, to be honest. It was just, I mean, farting along and making it up as I went along. But thank you. I think even as an accident, I must have done something right. Oh, 1 hour in. 52 Shark says, sorry if I ask too much all tomorrow's questions, just really curious. Sessiz Adam, Silent Man says, hello sir, you are being loved. Thank you. Thank you so much. Çok teşekkürler. Bir şeyler çeviren says, I am an engineering student. I would like to write stories and create my own universe, but I live in Turkey, and in Turkey it's hard to focus on your hobbies if they don't contribute economically. You're going to have to make time in your personal time then. I don't know how hard they're making you work at school or in your job now. But if you don't have much time, try to create short and simple things. Just write maybe short stories that are maximum 1000 words long. Human imagination is like a gas. It expands and contracts according to how much free time you have. And try not to market it in Turkey or to other Turkish people, because the sad truth of the matter is there's always going to be more love shown for these types of things in the English speaking world. It's just the way things are, I'm afraid. Or maybe write or draw or create for a very limited audience. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, there are science fiction clubs and communities in Turkey too. Just aim towards them. Doesn't matter if you do, even if you do a large project or a small project, I hope you taste the success of creating something from A to Z. Because the moment you finish your first project, a sort of curse is lifted from your back, and you realize you can finish things, and it makes you more confident going forward. Vermin Folio says, the little symbiotes around the coup are really cool. Your art is very inspiring. Thank you so much. Louis J says, imagination gas. I want to buy the All Tomorrow's book. Which one should I get, the original or the Redux? Get the original first from Wilton Square. Redux is going to be, I think, next year. Get them both because they're going to be very different books. Bir şeyler çeviren says, thank you so much. You have an energy and an aura and a perception that connects people to life. I knew you from All Tomorrows, but also from your travel videos on the Turkish Cep Hikayeleri channel. Thank you. You are thank you, man. Thank you so much. I'm writing a book which I've told myself I'll finish by April. It will have been exactly 5 years by then. I hope you make it. If you can't finish a book, finish a short story. If you can't finish a comic, finish a pack of 5 illustrations. Will the coup be in the Redux? It will be, and any more All Tomorrow questions, just refer to my Patreon, because you're going to see a lot of stuff from the Redux there. Will you film more Istanbul travelogues? Yes, those are in the works. Exactly. God damn, it's been a harsh week, huh? I mean, this was called The World in Turmoil edition. And as we speak now, there are probably very large protests in Iran. US is raising some sort of hollow noise about wanting to occupy Greenland. And around the world, the evergreen title says, yes, very true. Around the world really feels like the last year before a world war breaks out or some shit. But it's been feeling like that for a couple of years now. Louis J says, two thoughts on Donald Trump. I'll tell you this much. After a point, all across the world, elections cease to be about, I vote for this guy, I can make a change. No, across the world, state apparatuses have empowered candidates who will do things that maybe need to be done. And with the way the world economy was going, they needed an asshole, because America as a country needed to act belligerently now. It's just the way things are going with the competition with China and the war in the Ukraine. So I think the American state would be more agile with a credible asshole at the helm rather than some do-good like Bernie Sanders or Kamala Harris type figure. Also, another thing you must understand about elections is that the party or the people who get satisfied at the end, among the electorate, that is to say, the people who get satisfied at the end are always the people who need containment. So before Trump was elected, you had all these, preppers, these like guys with guns and shit. Like people who could really cause a disruption if they felt they were threatened. Remember, I mean, there was all this talk about a civil war and 1776 will commence again. Somebody like Trump winning shut them up for good. Now they will follow the state anywhere. Hello, says Full Grim Dragon. So that's how I see Trump. But yeah, American friends, I think it's going to be a hairy ride, huh? I mean, it's very clear to see. It's like a step-by-step replay of what happened in Turkey over 20 years ago. But there's this imaginary threat. ICE is created to tackle these unruly migrants and stuff, but actually it's a personal militia. Waywardling says, just want to wish you a good stream. Really love your inspirational work. Thank you so much. But like one thing that really ticked me off was I follow all these internet figures on the left and right, and there's this Asmongold character who was being polished as a sort of reasonable centrist. And when this woman was shot, he was like all mask off. He's like, yeah, based. Fuck around, find out. That's what I think. And I realized this guy is like this just maniac need to see some people suffer for what he thinks they did. Asmongold really literally can't take care of himself. There's dead animals in his room. Well, yes, but also like he's a very influential YouTuber and like commands lots of money. And I'll just tell you this much: people like that are seldom without masters. It's interesting to watch. You saw that with the attack on Venezuela too. Like in earlier times, there would have been a sort of months, maybe years long justification. For example, after 9/11, you had this build up saying, Iraq, Saddam has weapons of mass destruction. It was still a lie, but they went along with it. They rallied the UN and fabricated evidence, and then when it was too late, they just went in and destroyed the place. Now they don't even bother. It's just mask off. Which, okay, you could argue. I don't think this Maduro character he was a horrible leader. But like they didn't even bother to make up a pretext. And this in turn gives the American state a certain kind of agility in international affairs. And as I told you before, just now, you really can't do that with like a upstanding leader like Kamala or Bernie Sanders or Biden or Obama in charge. You need an asshole. Maybe even as a fall guy. I don't think Trump woke up one day and said, okay, we have to do this. No. And there's the connection. When the country acts like that internationally, boy, guess what could it do intranationally within the country? Now, none of the, let us say, kinetic agents, that is to say, people who want to enact violence for power, okay, they don't need to explain anything anymore. As goes the head, so goes the feet. Asmongold is a weird version of Moist Critical, says Blake Richardson. True. I think he's going to end up like this other streamer, Styx Hexenhammer, who is like a real piece of work. This guy was like, I mean, they even have a similar physiognomy, I think. But this guy was like making alt-right videos 10 years ago. And then he decayed into this like alcoholic, demon worshipping, wife beating reprobate. Really, really evil character. He was saying he was into demonology and like stuff, but all he did was take copyright expired demon books from, well, I don't know, what was the name of that, archive.org or something, and like print them on Amazon. And do you believe in demons, Memo? I don't know. If you could say he summoned the demon of sad and lonely, this guy has a lot of shit. Like, I mean, don't burn away your brain, but like you gotta watch these other podcasts or like other internet personalities like the Kino Casino talk about this guy, and like they reveal a world of shit. Apparently he was set to be tried for beating up his wife or some shit, Then the judge somehow died, and he said he caused a demon to do this because he was doing black magic shit. And just like a general, I mean, I don't know. Anyways, I don't look at this guy's face, but I think Asmongold is going to end up like this guy in a decade or so. When all the fame leaves him, he's gonna crash out bad. Tazim Bor says, very much enjoyed your line. Love today, sees all tomorrows. Thank you. Do you think American culture is interesting, Mr. Kozaman? It's very interesting. I wish I could take a bigger part in it than I can now. At the end of the day, it's just, even in its current dark, shitty, and gritty incarnation, you really have it so good. I mean, compared to the rest of the world, America is still a place where you can get the fruits of your labor. Maybe it's less fair than it used to be, and I'm not denying it. Economically, everywhere is in a bad state. But believe me, like, I mean, compared to an average American, an average Turkish person, don't look at me as an example. I was very lucky as a child. Like, my family was extremely lucky. An average Turkish person is playing life on the hard mode, extra hard, demon difficulty. And not just Turkish people, I must say, like people in Egypt, Romania. I mean, there's a lot of these like middle tier countries, and life there is very hard. Like, there was some guy here just a while ago who escaped the war in Ukraine and is now living in Berlin. Put yourself in his shoes. Do you think you'd be a good world leader? I think everybody thinks that they'd be a good world leader, but I don't know. Also depends on what kind of a scenario is this. If it's like a magic scenario where anything I want happens, then I'd be an excellent leader. But when you're a world leader, you don't get a sort of magical real-time strategy control panel placed before you. You still have to deal with people who are at your heels. Like, if you've been working in any office or any kind of work, you know that work unfortunately also has this human dimension, and there's always politics involved. And when you're the world leader, or you're a world leader, the stakes are higher, and you're really like trying to stay up on top of a pit of vipers. So in order to defeat your opponents, you need to be crafty and cunning and kind of be an asshole. So it's like one of those chess pieces where the actual domain of your mobility, or what you can or can't do, is actually quite limited. He'd make us all get all tomorrows if I was a no. I would make it so that, here's one policy that I'm really keen on. I would make it so that any industry that is business to customer, so like Disney or Walmart, any, like, if I produce this thing or this thing, and it goes straight to the customer, a fellow human being, then this company cannot be publicly traded. It cannot be on the stock market. You could still have it a family company, as a personal company, but it cannot be a shareholder profit. It cannot be subject to a shareholder profit model. And the reason for that is that shareholder economics, it's good for things that are business to business. So if I'm making like engines for some other company to use in their cars or shit, then it's okay because I'm not selling to the end customer. But if I'm making cars to sell to people, if my priority becomes the shareholder, then at one point I'm going to start fucking over the customer, and I that shouldn't be allowed. That's one rule I would enact. Romania, because it's in NATO and the EU, is much luckier and better politically speaking than Serbia, for example. True. There are these like lots of little changes you can do if you isolate yourself from this right versus left struggle and think innovatively. And I'm not saying like find a bright idea. It's just like the idea of like the B2B to publicly traded company ban, for example. Another case I think would be death penalty for high level corruption. If countries like China and Vietnam have it, I think the developed Western world would do well to have it back too. Anyways, lots of things like this, but come on, let's face it. I don't think I would want that responsibility, to be honest. Are you the coup? No, I'm not. Aztec justice system, punishment scaling with responsibility of the perpetrator. True, true. Also, like with today's technology, there's different ways you can do things. I mean, you could literally vote in laws with YouTube comments, or like it's a system everybody uses. You could have direct democracy with the internet. Nobody does that. I wonder why not. Anyways, I think the imagery of America is less accurate than it once was. I don't have running water. I'm not on an electrical grid. I will get warm when I make a fire. Not all of the US is rolling in dough, says MTG. Well, true. But you could be having that in Turkey or Egypt or Ethiopia too, or Russia or India. Maybe it's, I don't know, the grass is greener on the other side and all that shit. Who knows? We don't want democracy, we want kozemenocracy. Why should I rule? I mean, thank you though. Very flattering. Thank you. Just read my books and donate to me on Patreon and you'll be fine. Fancy mug. One of those Starbucks shits that's long, and I like it because it has more volume that way. Redmer says, also good evening. Good evening to you too. Clinker Clanker says, hello, hello, hello. I saw an interview with you where you briefly mentioned the idea of UFOs being these total entities that would be somewhat like unicellular beings in a weird way. Can you expand on that? Okay, it's a little something like this. Wait. Let's get the sketchbook ready. Huh. Imagine this eye is human understanding, science, okay? Now imagine if these are all the phenomena that exist in nature. This is physics, this is gravity, whatever. Now we know some of them, we can understand some of them. Others we can understand maybe a little, but we know kind of how they operate. Okay? In between them, there is still room for phenomena and laws of physics that we can't understand yet. And maybe what constitutes these UFOs, these like flying lights that mysteriously act like they're under guidance, maybe it's an organized phenomenon based on these little red bits of total science that we just can't understand yet. So that's how I mean total entities. I can't go into your Patreon, says 52 Sharks. Go to patreon.com/cmkosaman. You'll find it. It's in this video's description too. An hour and a half. What a nice conversation we all had. Erich von Däniken died recently. Flows on. We just had a huge review of all Erich von Däniken books for an hour or more. You just need to watch the replay. Oh, Kiranova says, how are you, my precious friend? I'm doing well, thank you. YouTube Joseph says, hello, I'm starting my All Tomorrow series again. Yes, thank you. Blake Richardson says, I'm going to get going now. Have a great rest of your stream. Thank you. Eleanor Davis says, this description of sciences and what we don't understand feels like it belongs in the start of a sci-fi movie. Diagrams make a lot of sense when you're talking about the broader topology of science and like broad concepts like that. And actually, diagrams make for creative thinking possible. It's very difficult to tell this idea with words alone. But you draw it once and it's very easy. Solar Hypercane says, your latest Patreon art reminds me of the Moon Woke Up series on YouTube. I don't know that, but thank you. There are so many places online selling All Tomorrows. Which one do I go to? Well, your best bet is to go here. to my publisher's own website, Wilton Square. Go to this page, Wilton Square Books All Tomorrows, and try buying it directly from them. Or you see this number called the ISBN here. You just copy that and search with that number in Amazon.com or any other bookseller. You'll get the official version. Your finger looks very sore. Yes, it's a bad habit. I chew on it sometimes and do self manicure. But it's okay, it's all good. Wilton Square Books ship internationally. Do you like answering random questions and talking, or do you hate it, says 50? I love it, of course. But to tell the truth, all tomorrow's questions have become very repetitive. Not that I'm complaining it, but sometimes I'm late to answer them, and I'd rather answer something about life or food or politics rather than questions like, no offense, but like, what do the coup eat? Because I never thought of that answer. YouTube Joseph says the monthly fee from Patreon wasn't paid in time, but it's, of course it's okay. It's okay. QWQ says, did you go to art school? I love your drawings. I did study art during college, but I didn't go to art school per se. But I just loved art all my life. Fossilized Fool says, Kozaman, which period of the Mesozoic is your favorite, Triassic, Jurassic, or Cretaceous? I think the Triassic, because it's got the strangest creatures. And look elsewhere in my channel for Paleo series about a lot of Triassic critters too. What got you to art school in Florida? I was in high school in Turkey, and we had to choose summer schools in the US because I was studying with the International Baccalaureate program. And I picked an art school for summer school because I didn't want to go study some shit like management or something. So I went to the Ringling School of Art and Design, pre-college 2000. This is 26 years old now. That's me back then. Sarasota, Florida. The Fishbowl was the social center. That was really nice. And this was my library card thing. So nice. Clinker Clanker says, do you have any more large-scale projects in mind? I do, but one of my rules is I never talk about them openly, because it's very easy to jinx them. Do you plan on uploading any more videos showing entire clades of animals? Yes. I got so much shit on mind, but so little time. I had this idea about making a video about all the cobra species in the world. And I wanted to sing the Limp Bizkit song Golden Cobra in the beginning. It was a lovely song. Maybe I'll make it. Can you sing? I have a nice voice, but I think a musical talent means way more than just being able to sing in the shower or something. But watch the rest of the videos in my channels for little bits where I break out into songs sometimes. Let's talk about the Kösemen grasshopper. Okay. So 2 years ago now, my good online friend Josip Skejo and his colleagues discovered a grasshopper in Guatemala, and they named it after me. Nascreciana kosemeni. It's a little forest grasshopper, and they thought that this thing on its back kind of reminded them of my creatures. So it was such an honor. Actually, even here, wait. Okay, so this is the paper that describes it. Contribution to the knowledge of Batrachidaini, which is the name of this grasshopper group, with 2 new flightless genera. Oh. So there's this bit where, okay. Named in honor of C.M. Kozemen, Turkish artist and independent researcher who is known from his work on speculative evolution. Specific epithet is the noun of the second Latin declension of the ingenitive case, derived from the surname Kozemen. Such an honor. Oh no, the screen is black. Shit. Oh. Okay, well. Let me show you this then. I hope you can see it now. Screen looks like the Epstein files. Okay. Okay, so this is. Were you able to see the grasshopper? Can you sing the song Man in the Mirror? What the hell is that song? By Michael Jackson. No, I don't. I'm not a big Michael Jackson fan, and I don't know that song. Didn't see the grasshopper. Okay, let me show it to you. So this is what my grasshopper looks like. Getting it on with a female. Such an honor. Such an honor. The colors and the projections, they thought Kösemen's spirit animal, yeah. Which of your creatures did it look like? Not any one in particular. It's just the way it's angled and the yellow stripe, and maybe the funny fact that they caught them while they were mating. So there's that. It's very nice though, that like keel like thing that goes over its neck, kind of like a helmet. I think it's really nice. Get some. It's awesome. You got a critter named. Yeah, that's a big honor. Perv, says Slotman Prophecies. When did people develop the concept of privacy during mating? I think privacy originated because of a desire by women at first. Like, women did not want to see other women mating or like making babies with men. It kind of developed from there. Joseph says, I can't find a Wikipedia page on this species. Well, you can find them on iNaturalist. Not every animal is on Wikipedia, unfortunately. Almost 2 hours. What a nice evening with all you guys. 50 people watching. Thank you so much. Whoever's left on Wikipedia, go make an article. Yes, maybe. They do talk about it on my Wikipedia article, though, so that's interesting. "38 people watching. I hope you had a nice weekend, all of you. It's so nice. I really miss these interactions, and I'm really glad I don't have to stream every day, because it's nicer when you miss each other, and it's also nicer when and more honest this way, no? It would be a bit depressing to like go online at the same time every day and go online at the same time every day and just talk about the news cycle or react to other people. It would be very, very depressing. I searched for All Tomorrows on Amazon. Can we buy it from there, or is it a scam? Well, you have to go get the ISBN first. The ISBN number, remember? If it has the same ISBN number, then it's the legitimate one. Or on Amazon, get the one with the more positive views, because there's two copies. One of them is from the old publisher, which collapsed, and it's a long story. But the one with the more positive reviews, that's the legitimate one. MTTG says, weird weather north of New York this weekend. Nice and warm yesterday for a while, so I painted part of the home. That's nice. I ordered my copy from Thalia, but haven't received it. I think Europe receives it from the UK, then ships it to you. That might be the reason. I personally don't know how Thalia works, and that's a German bookshop, by the way. But I'm sure it would be It will reach you soon. Mm-mm-mm. Sleep is creeping into me a bit, but any should we do some world traveling on maps, and then maybe after that we could call it a night. The one with the 4.8 stars on Amazon. Yes, that's the legit one. Exactly. Making live sales on live streams. Oh, I hope you enjoy your read, Dennis. Okay, where in the world do you want to see? Give me some places we could go to. I'm booting up maps, by the way. Let's go to Antarctica. No, no, somewhere with street maps. So, Meckenheim, Germany. Okay, let's do that. Oh, it's near Köln. Okay, so I'm booting up. Wait. So it's near Köln and Bonn. One of those little nice towns that are actually way better than the cities. That's where the beauty of Europe lies, actually. Not much. You Germans are very private with Google Maps. So all we have are these nice road scenes, but we can't see much inside the town. We could try the nearby town of Rheinbach. Oh, so nice. Yes, this is something the American mind can't comprehend. Small but clean and fresh apartments in a walkable area. And some of these are really like legacy buildings too. This is nice. Like this is the good side of Germany, which I like. There's a hotel here, guest house Drove. And then you can go here. Look at these. Buy that bird. Or these associated knickknacks. And then have some coffee at Cafe du Voig store. Okay. Okay. And it keeps on going. Barber shop. Probably not a local establishment. Naturkiste. What's this? Some postcards and stuff. I really like this high street life, and in some of the big cities the streets are in a state of decay, but that doesn't seem to be the problem here. Oh shit, it's black. Oh shit. Oh no. Well, just my luck. We have to wait until it comes back. I think the small towns and the sticks are where the real America is too, says Flow Zone MTGT. Yes, true. So can you see it now? Okay, well, this is the streets of Rheinbach in Germany, which we were walking through because we can't see anything in nearby Meckenheim. Look at this. This building was built in 1902 and probably refurbished in 1976. Interesting. Okay. Let's keep going through the streets. No, we can't go here. We can only cross this main street, I'm afraid. Germany has a lot of privacy laws, and because of that, you really can't see many things in the street. But I'll show you my favorite place. I think if I lived here, I'd be here all day. Café am Woigstor. Nice coffee place, huh? I would sit in this table and sketch and draw. Anyways, that's nice. And then there's this knick-knack shop and a nice walkable town. This I was showing this street when I was telling that the American mind can't comprehend this, but like nice small apartments, and it's amazing how clean they keep everything too. Then we leave the town. I'd love to sit and draw with coffee for a day. Seems a lot like Aachen, where I live, says Eur van Son. You can go to jail in Germany for denying the Holocaust or making any hate speech. I mean, much has been made of that. I don't think they'd like lock you away immediately if you say it on the street, but then again, why would you say such a thing? I mean, there's something with speech being criminal that doesn't sit right with me either. But it's always a compromise. About to go to work, says Baby Boat Fly. Wanted to drop in, wish everyone a good day. Well, have a great day at work. Onur Kayra says, street looks extremely German and clean, nothing like Maltepe Gül Suyu. Okay, I think this is our cue to go there. Yes. So let's compare this with a similar place in Turkey. So this is in Istanbul. It's like suburbs of a giant city of 18 million people, okay? Now I'm going to show you what it looks like. You can see the difference between Turkey and Germany. As you can see, it's not so bad, but it's way more crowded. The buildings are taller. This is still like a green and well-kept part of Turkey, but as you can see, there's like garbage and rubble everywhere or in every corner. The houses themselves are clean and well maintained, but there are all these little bits where, you know, decay is allowed to, like, they don't clean up after themselves basically, and there's way more people and cars and guys that look like this. So make of this what you will. I mean, but this is like a good sort of neighborhood in Turkey. It's a bit dilapidated and run over, but what can you do? There's a supermarket, Shock Mini. You can buy your food and eat it. And there's a school, the Vasfi Rıza Zobu Primary School. You can take your kid, and looks like a fancy place. This is a rule in Turkey. Next to every school, there's a place that does börek, which is wrapped up pastries. And the parents sit here and eat the börek when they're waiting to pick up their kids. We have areas like that in Germany too. Okay, misery loves company. Are the censored buildings destroyed? No, for some reason they keep blocking them sometimes. Compared to Delhi in India, come on, that's low-hanging fruit. Wouldn't you rather compare it to somewhere in Bochum or anywhere in Ruhrpott? Okay, we'll go there too. Kuranes says, if you're going to dox my home if you keep going. I'm going to head out. When is your next stream? Well, I don't keep a schedule. Usually once every week or once every 2 weeks. Just follow me on Instagram or Twitter and I'll show you. Okay, we'll go crawling in Maltepe a bit more. Then I will show you, or we will explore Bochum or Ruhrpott in Germany. And by the way, this is the Vasfi Rıza Zobu Primary School. So you can have your entire childhood spent in one big building. And the motto is intriguing: for education and more. Okay. What exactly does more entail? We'll probably never know. And there's the stationery shop. You know, you send your kids to school, so you can pick up balls and pencils and umbrellas and books and toys and shit for them. That's the September stationery shop. Actually, like, I don't mean to poke fun, because like in these places you can find these really nice vintage pens and like old sets of paper sheets, which are always nice to draw on. Yeah, the school keeps going, by the way. I think there's a high school after that. These are the parents. Yeah, this is a high school. Or maybe this is a school yard and all the kids are settling in for an event. We don't know. Yeah, but these are school hours for sure. You see, there's a lot of cars, but people also walk around and pick up their kids and shit. Oh, this was the site of Moonlight Cafe, which is now permanently closed. So, yeah. And this is a more old kind of apartment, and like places in rural Turkey are more similar to this. But it is what it is. Anyways, this is Maltepe. Did the coup need strength? Or look, come on, man. We're doing something else, and there's a time and place for every question. Anyways, this is Maltepe. There's also a seaside neighborhood close to here. So let me show you the seaside. Boom. More of the same. But you got these like new and futuristic anime type buildings that were built after the year 2000. And the older buildings, like this is from the 1990s probably, maybe had refurbishment. This is way older, from the 1980s, unplanned structure. So there's a big wave of urban renewal, and they tear these old structures down because of earthquake risks and build these more modern and anime type buildings. Problem is, there was a huge earthquake 2 years ago, and the modern buildings collapsed just as the old ones did. So, yeah, that's something. That's a really sad fact of life. Okay, let's go. Okay, so this is the street that goes towards the sea. And we're gonna go down that road now. Huh. One nice thing is all these trees and palm trees and pine trees and vines and everything. And the closer you get to the sea, the more you have these villa type buildings. These were quite sophisticated. Like, this one is way older, but they had this sort of Art Deco type glasswork at the door. I think this is a very old building, and like, this door is new. This pavement is more recent. All the AC units and stuff, they're more recent. So yeah, and there's a van life guy too, parked here. And this is the seaside with the bus stop and everything, and it's a nice place. Beautiful villas with the plants, says MTGBT. Okay, now let's go to Bochum before finishing our travel, okay? Bochum, Germany. Where is this? Near Düsseldorf and Dortmund, okay. Okay, the train station is always an unsafe bet. I think this is the town center, the historic place, and these are suburbs, maybe. So let's drop a guy here. Osteria al Vecchino Torquio. With a, okay, interesting person walking around. But yeah, way cleaner. Way cleaner. I mean, just look at it. And like, more compactly scaled. Look at this house. Oh, I mean, the part of Turkey we saw, you didn't catch on the joke I tried to make. Sorry, it flew over my head. Maybe Bochum has some bad reputation in Germany. I really, really didn't catch the gist of it. Sorry. You have a similar type of glasswork to that villa we saw in Istanbul, but way more sophisticated and colorful. Alrighty. All gender. Okay. They didn't like this porta potty being gendered, I guess. I don't know. Some more refurbishment taking place. Some hipster type person going home. Maybe this is her house with all the plants. Who knows? It bugs me that people get caught on Google Maps. Well, we didn't catch anybody tonight. My house is tiny too, but I'm one of those owners of farmland based all gender porta potty, very progressive. As pretty as some of this is, I can't imagine so many people so close to me. I I sympathize with you. It's I think acquired. I mean, I grew up all my life like this, but if I had grown up in the great outdoors, obviously I'd have a different perception. This is very European. This building is very European, huh? A little dilapidated, but okay. At this day and age, just the idea of owning a house is such a dream for many people that, I mean, look, let's face it, this is not the best house in the world, but you could still feel cozy if you say, oh, what if this was my apartment? No, I could do these rooms, clean it up, make it mine. One can always dream. Europe 101 type building, says Kuranes. Does Turkey have states or provinces? How many? And which one do you live in? Well, I'm not going to dox myself, but Turkey has 81 provinces and wait, let's see. Yeah, these are all the provinces. This is Turkey. You can't really see the borders well, but like this is one, Bilecik. Eskişehir is one, Ankara, Kırıkkale, Yozgat, Çankırı, Çorum, Zonguldak, Karabük, Ordu. It's a big ass country. My brother owns a house and he's sort of stuck hosting us for the holidays, says Jerry Caleb. Well, your brother is very, very lucky. Joseph says, I'm not asking for your street address. I don't even have a passport. Oh, come, I'm not scared of you. It's just I'm in one of the big cities, but I just don't feel like advertising where I am. And that's that. Everyone should have a home that's truly theirs. I chose the home over the water and the grid, not without compromise, says MTBT. Well, you've been the most interesting person and I'm one of the coolest people I've spoken to tonight. So thank you for. I really value like a perspective that broadens mine. So that's that. There's actually a town in Turkey that was planned by city planners in the 1920s on the directives of Atatürk himself, Turkey's founding father. It's called Atça, and you can see its plan. It's done with this very Enlightenment era European type of grid. But this town is actually in the middle of nowhere, like not in the middle of nowhere, but in a very rural part of the country. And you can compare it to one of the older or like more quote unquote unorganized cities. Like this is Nazilli, and you can see the streets running all over the place. Okay, let me drop a figure here. It looks like this, closer to Germany actually than Istanbul was. Now let's go to Atça, which was the planned city here, and you'll see what a difference it can make. So the streets are way more narrow. Let's see how we can find our way to the center. And the houses are still very traditional. It's just the layout that's modern. But anyways, this city is an anomaly. There's like a city center here in this roundabout. And it's this big broad square with these reliefs, camels, horses, donkeys. This is a very rural Turkish site, an old man on a motorbike. And there he goes. Run, run. I love these red Mediterranean pines, by the way. Here are some nice apartments. I think this is the fancy part of Atça. There's a supermarket and, well, houses on top. You can just hear the cicadas in this picture. Okay. Let's walk until we see something interesting. There's a culture center here, but what cultural services are being rendered, I don't know. Looks like they just built it to leech government money, huh? This villa is beautiful, although very old. This building looks like it's going to fall over in the first earthquake. There's a florist shop. Some really nice legacy buildings. Just look at this thing, for example. It's all a bit run down and dusty, but you know, what can you do? I love these crazy Mediterranean pines. And these are the kinds of vehicles you can only see in rural Turkey. They're all a bit like, I don't know, 30 years, 40 years old, but still running. There's a Shan coiffeur. You can get your hair cut in this little place. And there's this little table with some tea glasses on it. You can just sit and talk with your friends. Another coffee house kind of place. Look, this is these old guys entire day. Sit around, talk, read the newspaper. Bish bash bosh. And they got their old car too. This is a Renault Anadolu, which was manufactured in Turkey with a license. It's like the OG Turkish car from the 1980s. That these cars have a lot of character. I'll just say that much. Yeah, and that's that. Köşk tobacco. Oh my God, look at this tobacconist. Okay. Anyways, let's end with the scenic view. These places seem warmer than the cities into, says MTTG. Yes, look, these parts of Turkey, let's face it, they're not the most modern places in the world, but I think the human interactions you'll have here are going to be more rewarding if you live here, if you're from there, are going to be way more rewarding than like life in an anonymous American city. I grew up in Georgia, USA, and the cicadas always sounded like and the last and the longest one would go slowly trailing off. Well, yes, there are hundreds of different species of cicadas, and almost each one has a different sound. Hello, Mr. Daddy Kozaman. We've missed your streams. I've been previous streams, Maxing. Thanks for tolerating. As I told in the beginning of the stream, it was holidays. I was busy with family stuff. And then I had a 2-week long strike of some sort of shitty flu. So thanks for your patience. This city really looks extra cozy. Well, I'm just looking at house prices there, okay? So look, I'm going to show you. So a house here goes for around 3.5 million years, a million liras, okay? It's a lot. So around $81,000. For $80,000, you can get an apartment flat here. Is this some sort of Turkish home session? You could call it that, I think. So if you got $80,000, 80,000 US dollars burning a hole in your pocket, you could come to Atça and buy a house here. Actually, buy a nice apartment here. These are like the more rural, like the older parts. And houses here would be cheaper. But once again, like the niceness of human life, you know, kids are playing in the street. There are some street dogs. This woman is out shopping. It seems like a more slow-paced and leisurely kind of town. Please look at Datça, says Gözde Koçoğlu. Not a snowball's chance in hell tonight. I mean, Datça is a nearby, not even a nearby place. It's one of those gunky, overdone places. It's like a holiday place it's a place where people go to retire. Actually, yeah, let's look at Datça. I was looking at this place because it was a planned city designed or on the orders of Mustafa Kemal Atatürk himself. There's even a train station. That's neat. Okay, let's show everybody Datça. Look, there's all this Palaya Hotel, blah, blah, blah, blah. Not a big fan of this town, to be honest. Just hotels. You're going to see it now. Look at the chaos. We fucking spawned behind a brick truck. And look at how like so these are like wealthier people's summer places. and they build uncontrollably. Like there's these all like slapped on extra floors, shitty planning. There's a boulder here for no reason. Okay, it's not ugly, but there's a place that sells art objects. You want some dried Chinese sea stars and whatever the hell these things are. And there's a, okay, so there's a bird's nest or some rusty pipe above, you can see. So all the rust, all the rust, when it rains, comes falling off, pitter patter, down. Oh, sorry. It comes falling off, pitter patter, down these pipes onto this doorstop. And instead of doing anything about it, this person just put a fucking pillow there and a brick so it doesn't blow off. So you got this nice tetanus covered shitty mattress on the entrance of your shop. Doesn't seem to trouble him one last bit. Yummy pillow, yes. How long will the stream go? As long as it needs to. Hello there, great friend, says Robotipi. Gözde Koçoğlu is plugging in all the fancy places. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show people reality. Fancy places you can find online. But only I can show you the tetanus-infected pillow experience. Look at this fucking place. There's an air conditioner, a door that's, I don't know, 2 feet wide. Some dungeon of a room up here. And I bet your ass this house costs twice as much as the houses on that last town we visited. Look at this. It's like, it's not some place I would like to go. Like, remember, this is a holiday town. You put your life savings into this shit and attempt to have a holiday. What's here? Some local olive oil dishes. Probably the only 2 people in Google Maps whose faces aren't censored. Yep. I like this brickwork on the ground, by the way. And we have another legacy car here, Anatolian car. By the way, drawing these cars is always really fun. Are those bars there to prevent entry like the hood? So these are summer houses. So when people go away for the winter, there might be thieves. So that's to deter them. But it's not like a ghetto kind of situation. So you wouldn't have home invaders while you're there. But when you're away in the big city for the winter, then, something might happen. But once again, these cards are so nice to just look at and sketch. Did you see the new Azino Venator and Ashka Ceratops this year in paleontology is off to a good start? Yes, I did. Those are the ceratopsians which may not have frills, but the science is a bit hazy. There's some weird ornithopods, that's for sure. Okay, so there's a bakery. Okay, that bread is good. And this is the Bizim Cafe, our coffee place. And this picture is ancient from January 2015 because a bowl of rice costs 4 lira. Now the same bowl of rice will cost 100 lira. So terrible inflation over a decade. So we're going towards the sea here. And this is like one of the main streets. Okay, the grocers. This is one of the neat things about Turkey, that you always have access to fresh fruit. So that's a neat thing. Looks like Harry Potter 2. Okay, I never watched that. Last year, my aunt bought a summer place, 120 square meters for around 15 million lira. Oof. Not as good as Italy, but better than many countries. I think even this is better than some places in South Italy, but yes, unfortunately, there is a tier list. What can you do? And that's that. And you see how sharply it ends. Villa Dacia. Oh my God, my villa. Look. And there's a bulldozer ready to destroy this landscape for the next year. So they can build more shit villas like this one. I don't know, like miles from the sea in some godforsaken mountain and fucking rot in it. Sorry, I cannot be charitable to this part. Like, the view is okay. The view is nice. It's this beautiful Aegean landscape, but what the hell are you gonna do there? Ooh. And look, these are like rich people's houses. Look at this shit. This green, hostile green fencing, ghetto fences at every window, ACU satellite. I don't know. Sorry, I'm a bit cynical about these things. I mean, look, the nice part of Datça, I've traveled in Datça, is the seashore, the coast, which was built on top of an old Greek village during the population exchange. Now, these streets, they're nice and pretty, and there's more of a social life here. And it's more like the center of town. So, like, if I was forced at gunpoint to live here, I would pick maybe one of these apartments, maybe here. So I would be like in the town. I could go down here for food. There was even a bookshop around here somewhere. And you see there's cats. This guy is like saying pish, pish, pish, pish to the cat. And everybody's happy. Whoa, we got? Oh, dizziness. Okay. Okay, people are leaving. If you want to look at reality, please look at Hızır Shah Bey. These people are loaded. Okay, I have by the way, like, true, like this area recently burned down. You can see satellite. There's, I think these are ashes, or maybe not. I don't know. But Datça it's near historic Knidus in the Aegean, which is a very historic and Mediterranean part of Turkey. It's right next to, like, literally like 5 miles away from this Greek island, Simi. And I am a Turkish patriot, but now I'm going to take you 5 miles across to this island, okay? and you're gonna see what I will call area of improvement. Now, the Greeks, of course, are on an island and they have cultivated this place for tourism for decades. So it's maybe not a fair comparison, but I mean, just look. How can you explain this difference? It's 5 miles from this to that. Unbelievable. Oh, they have very strict building codes, and a lot of tourists come here, so they, of course, take great care of their city. This place was also a part of Italy until 1948 or something. Then it was given back to Greece. But once again, I mean, it's just vagaries of geography. Sponges shop. I mean, compare this with the rusty diarrhea pillow and that shop which was selling like these sad, broken off little sea stars. Unfortunately, we have torn away the culture of our places for maximum profit, and this makes me sad. Okay, like to tell you the truth, like there's a kind of Turkish person who looks at this difference, maybe goes to Greece once in their life, like, oh, then becomes a treasonous Hellenophile. I'm not one of those people, but you should be able to learn lessons and apply them. And one of the greatest lessons I've learned in my life is that, unfortunately, uh, this is the mainland and it's connected to Anatolia, which is this, and it's got 80 million people in it. This is an island and it's connected to, well, this, which has 12 or 15 million people. Like, more people live in Istanbul than all of this place. So unfortunately, as the saying goes, nerede çokluk orada bokluk, which means wherever there's many, there's a lot of shit. But I'll also describe you another pet peeve, which is the fucking road from Datça to, well, the rest of the mainland. And I drove this road during COVID, and it's the most like beautiful but also fucking scary road I've ever driven across. Like, there's these, like, the landscape is beautiful, but there's these wild swerves and it's just 2 lanes. So there's like trucks and buses and small cars all sharing these 2 lanes, and suddenly there's like a wild twist, and like any mistake you make, you can just fall over and fucking die. Like, I love nature, I love the Mediterranean landscape, but I drove across this place, okay, and I wanted this place destroyed. Like, no car should be allowed on this fucking road. Like, it was so scary that it turned into hatred for me. Look at this. Like, beautiful, but remember, an entire city's worth of buses, trucks, cars, SUVs, assholes speeding and drinking in BMWs share just these 2 fucking lanes, okay? 2 fucking lanes, more narrow than those streets in Germany we watched. And the road twists. Of course, at night there's no illumination, so you're driving in pitch black, and like one wrong turn, you become part of the fucking. I hate this place so much. Like, if I was the ruler of the world, this road from here to here, evacuate it, use it for nuclear weapons testing. I fucking hate this road so much. I died like 3 times in this fucking road. Look at this shit. Motherfuckers. I hate it so much. He died 3 times on the road, and on the 4th day I rose and my nerves were calmed down. Why am I now thinking about the acid truck accident? Yes, it happened in a place close to this. The Marmaris Kurucabük Road, says Gözde Koçoğlu, is notorious for serious accidents and is home to one of the most dangerous bands in Turkey. Yes. What do I think? I think it should be destroyed. Based, yeah. Ay, ay, ay, ay, ay. I mean, so beautiful. But I really hate this place. Anyways. Okay, let's not end on a hateful note, and let's also get our faces out of our asses and end with a visit to a place outside of Turkey. And for this, I am going to turn to our good commenter tonight, MTTG4BT. And good sir, where would you recommend we visit now to conclude this podcast? I would be particularly interested in like the parts of rural America that you like. Let's compare it with something. Okay, please visit Sackets Harbor, New York. Okay, let's do that. So first, let me see where it is. Okay, it's in upstate New York, close to where I studied, which was Ithaca, Cornell University. So let's look at Sackets Harbor. So nice, huh? There's a big town here, Watertown. Okay, let's drop our man here. Now, as you can see, this small town has wider streets than that goddamn touristic road in Turkey. Very beautiful place. It's almost refreshing, right? Same kind of beauty as Cornell, which means in winter it must get, hell must freeze over, I guess. This is the kind of beautiful, like the kind of woodwork you see here. I don't think anybody can replicate it entirely these days, huh? This is this like nice, solid, and quirky sort of American architecture that I really admire and respect. There's a, oh look, they painted it. Very nice arts and crafts kind of stuff. There seems to be, okay, let me drop the man somewhere close to the harbor. Oh, okay, I know where I'm staying. Harbor House Inn. Yes. Oh, this must be the back, but I think I can. Yes, I'm staying here. Okay. Well, we must be able to find a coffee place someplace. Look, I need two places when I'm traveling. Many people actually. A nice cozy hotel to stay in and a coffee place to draw and talk to people in. Goodfellas, a spin on Goodfellas, the movie. Looks like a pizza place. Okay, yep, I found my place. I'm going to sit here. Lunch Saturday. Oh, very nice. Lunch Saturday, Sundays, food served until late. Okay, I'm in here, man. Locked and loaded. And look, these wooden fixtures, they're done by a maybe the same person as that nice house we just saw. Oh, it's spring and the flowers. By the way, this kind of America, I think this America, it's also an endangered species. I know many parts of like small town America, they're being ruined by opioid addicts and like migration and sharecroppers and apartment, like big companies building apartment blocks. But so nice. Look, they even have these like little strips of green that are maintained, and they got the vintage light fixtures. Oh, another hotel. The entrance. Oh, okay, it's the other inn. Okay. Well, let's coast here. The Battlefield Eatery. Okay, this must be like the shopping street. Junk in the trunk. Is this a restaurant too, or yeah, it looks like a restaurant. This seems like a fancy place, but I think I'd still pick Goodfellas over this. You are accurate in your threat assessment, says MTTG. Yes, thank you. The battlefield will show you the harbor. Okay. And I make good coffee, says MTTG. So thanks for this offer of hospitality. I wish this was a world without visas so I could travel. But after COVID, it's become impossibly hard. Or even in Biden's time, it was impossibly hard to get a proper tourist visa. Team Goodfellows versus Bad Buddies faction. Atakan Öztopaş says, looks great. I loved it. You don't have any visa Schengen? No, I don't. Fucking don't. I could only obtain a visa for the United Kingdom with great difficulty. And it lasts for 2 years. So after 2 years, I'll have to do the whole thing again. Europe is like, to Turkish citizens, it's like Festung Europa, Fortress Europe. They issue visas by the days. At like there's these like nightmare cases where somebody spends like 600 euros, and for his or her troubles, they give him a visa for 3 days, literally. I don't know what, to go to Berlin, suck dick, and come back. It's disgusting and unfair. And apologies to all European friends watching. I know we have friends from Germany over, but this is, I know why it's taking place too. Actually, let me tell you about the story. So, 5 to 10 years ago, Turkey had a lot of Syrian and associated Arab Spring visitors, okay, which were made temporary residents. So they had a Turkish residency ID. And around that time, the government made it possible for citizens or residents to change their legal names online. So now these people who who are like refugees from war, basically Syrians and whatever, and they got a bad reputation, sometimes not unjustly earned. And his name, imagine, is a Syrian name. But now, because of this rule, he goes online and changes his name to Barış Öztürk or something, which is like a kind of like a Turkish name in the same way Richard Branson is a British name. It's a very like established local and like educated elite Turkish person's name or something like that. So these people change their names and apply through front companies for European tourist visas. So they have these fake companies, which is named like Atlantic Exports or something. And they say it's all fake, of course, but they say we import and export. So they look at the application and It sounds like a rich, wealthy businessman. They give him the tourist visa. The moment these people land in Berlin or France or wherever, they disappear. They escape into Europe. So this is what happened. The Turkish government did this on purpose so that they'd get rid of all these cunning refugees. And then because of that, Europe put the kibosh on it. And for a moment, they became extra harsh on the visas. Now, of course, with the US withdrawing support from Europe, and European leaders are coming squirming and again for military support to countries like Turkey. Now maybe it can change again. But anyways, look what a nice house. Very nice house. I can never understand like the Mediterranean mind can't comprehend this, but I'd be very scared with my my living room exposed to the street like this. But I guess this guy is doing all right. By the way, it's always a little tacky to have like if somebody has sailor memorabilia on their house, especially if it's well maintained. This person might be like an old boomer who insists on calling himself the captain or something. Anyway. There's very little crime in Saket Harbor, mostly speeding tickets. I mean, compared to all the weirdness I've shown you in Europe and Turkey, you can understand why I say sometimes maybe it's not all rosy down there, but in America, there's a broader range and domain into which your ambitions can hopefully fall. Navy Point Marine. Customers and their guests only. No trespassing. Okay. Okay, then turn back. But yeah, really nice tour. Such a palate cleanser. Thank you so much. Streets look really empty here, says Slokste Umbeten. If it's a quiet town, it's definitely a good town. Abi, what happened to the mantis? Watch the rerun. It died, and I showed everybody the corpse. It died of natural causes. Jerry Caleb says, people where I live have a vague sense that Turkey is Muslims, but we wouldn't be able to tell you apart from Italians in a lineup. Some of us you wouldn't. Some you would. Also depends on the Italians too. Like Northern Italians, I don't think they're similar to any Turkish people. Southern Italians, different story. Grenadier Island. More beautiful aesthetics. Interesting. Whoop. Oh, looks like a rich spa sort of place. Anyways, traveling with you guys is really fun, and 50 of you are still watching, so I must be doing something right. But yeah, man, even with all the shit that's going on, this part of the world, it's not just me, like everybody here is just looking at you. And they say, oh, these guys have it so good. Okay, one last trick before we say goodnight, okay? Wait, Miss Mantis died. Unfortunately, she passed away, yes. Sorry for your loss. It's okay. It was the end of her natural lifespans. No, we're gonna have it like somebody not from Turkey. Pick a place in Turkey for us to explore. You can look at Diomede Islands. Aren't those the Atlantic islands where albatross live? Fossilized Fool says, do Sinop. Okay, that's a really nice one. Sinop is where Diogenes, the philosopher, lived. Sinope of ancient fame and renown. It has one of the most beautiful landscapes in the Black Sea region. And it's actually a very livable and cozy city. So good pick. But once again, it's like this. Compare that with what we just saw in the States. I mean, life is more happening, and people are. You can eat tantuni here, which is like mince meat in rolls. Go down this street. This is such a Black Sea thing, by the way. Like in winter, the cold sea wind howls through these streets, and there's just something like canyon-like about the way these things are built. This is a ladies' shop, beauty parlor. And then you can go to Çıtırcık and buy baby clothes. Sinop girls are different too. My ex was from there. Very narrow space. says Realm Corporations. So these cities like this are like a slightly filthier version of Japan. I find the layouts of like small Japanese cities and Turkish cities really similar. But once again, unfortunately, Turkish cities have this graceless and unintentionally ugly look about them. And it's on us to change it, not on anybody else. Look at this, must be a main street. Let's find it. Also, there's a bank here, so this must be the main street. There's a medical center with a K. If you need stethoscopes in Sinop, this is where you got to go. From what I've heard, there's a lot of national pride in Turkey. Yes. Enlightened psychology. Please look at Tokat. Sinop is a very good place to get a summer house. I'll tell you what, no lie, I like this city. I've never been there, but it's got a reputation as being like a more laid back Black Sea city. Because some Black Sea cities are very conservative. There's İvyanlılar shop says no to nuclear energy. Okay. Kid is going to go shopping. No, fishing, sorry. This guy is reading a book. Philosophy of something. So like this bloke has a philosophy book. So nice. Whoop. There's cars, man, stores, everything jammed together. Let's look for a nice cafe here, huh? Okay, so this must be like, okay, the fancy street. Let's drop our man here. Where should we go? I want to go to Rain Cafe. It's like all these canyon-like streets. Well, the Rain Cafe must be somewhere close by. There's a dog. Boo! There's another woman behind him. And this is such a Turkish shot. Like, screenshot this right away. So there's a nice looking girl walking in a labyrinthine canyon. There's a boy, there's a dog, there's a graffiti that says yes, yes, yes. And right next to them, there's kokoreç dünyası, which is the world of kokoreç, which is a street food that's made up of like sheep intestines. This is the life you get. Why isn't the dog's face blurred? Sinop looks worse than I imagined. True, true. Modern day Diogenes reading philosophy. Yes, yes. So yeah, this is all the life. Like, jokes aside, this is like, I don't know, like 5 families live inside this little grid. It's always a bit unfair. I mean, they make it work, okay, and there's the Nuance Musical Center. You can buy musical instruments. Where are the cafes and stuff? Come on. Nere Bistro and Cafe. What's this one? Okay, now you're talking. You see some. This is the seashore. This is the old, maybe Ottoman age structure from at least a century ago. Like what happened so that people feel the need to abandon this for these. Actually, this is a bloody beautiful house. So I think like maybe the only first 10 meters from the sea are nice. Then behind one street, after you go back one street, you start with the labyrinth again. And that's just the way things are. Okay, everybody. Thanks for your patience. And this was really nice. Almost 4 hours of live streaming. Oh my God. I had a great time sharing my thoughts and showing you the world. You look like an adult Sheldon Cooper without glasses. I hope you take that back. I'm really not a big fan of the Big Bang Theory, nor do I like that character. I think the way geeks are portrayed, or even like people with fringe interests are made into geeks, I think it's very unfair. It was a compliment. Well, okay. Kukurech says Neutron. I'll message you tomorrow. Is it okay? Yes, perfect. Wrong nose and shape face. Yeah, I'm like, I'm the more Mediterranean slash Sephardic face. Sheldon Cooper is more. What's that character's name? Ben Shapiro roid. You know what I mean. I represent the more fair and pale and more cerebral and hopefully the humane sort. Anyways. Germanic, maybe. I don't know. By the way, if you look deep into Reddit, you can find my genetic DNA test results, and what you see might shock you. Anyways, we are into tribal differences now. It's 1 a.m. Okay, I'm tired. I'm fucked up in the head, but okay. This was a great night, and thanks to everybody watching. If you're in the replay gang, also let me know you're in the replay gang and what was your funniest moment and all that. And if you are feeling charitable, supporting my podcasts, live streams, and Google Maps travels, you know where to donate to. The links are below. Buy me a coffee, go to my Patreon, buy my merchandise, and thank you all. By the way, I've noticed like when I'm live streaming, the first 1 hour or 2 hours, I'm more normal and baseline, and I'm more cordial. Then after the second hour, kind of like the veneer starts peeling away, and you see the frantic intensity of my true character. And yeah, that's always a nice thing to experience. On the receiving end, too, I hope, as much as it is on the end that dishes it out. Anyways, tonight's special friend was MTTG4BT. And if I ever make it to your side of the Atlantic, I'd be happy to take you up on that coffee. Thank you so much. This channel and these live streams are always about getting all the different sorts of people who are interested in me and my work to like look at each other in a different perspective. This is why I'm streaming in English, even though there's a lot of Turkish fans. But and to my foreign visitors or non-Turkish visitors, I hope I could offer you a few local insights too. Anyways, just a brief glimpse into his dark, twisted mind. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm not a dark person at all. Frantic, never dark. Go support this guys. Anyways, bish bash bosh. You have a good night, and wherever you all are, I love you all. The community here rocks, says MTTG. Thank you so much. Cheers and good night. As we descend deeper.